The Abuja Archdiocesan Justice Development and Peace Commission, JDPC, is set to implement the initiative of Archbishop Kegama to ensure that all parishes in Abuja Archdiocese employ the services of a sign language interpreter as a way of disability inclusion in the Archdiocese. The advocacy for disability inclusion was carried out on the sideline of the 4th Abuja Archdiocesan General Assembly, where delegates pledged to promote disability rights in the Archdiocese. CTV News was there.
According to the World Health Organization WHO 2011 World Disability Report, about 15% of Nigerian population, or at least 25 million people in Nigeria, have one form of disability or the other. Many of them faces a number of human rights abuses such as stigma, discrimination, violence, and lack of access to healthcare, housing, and education. It was in light of this that the Justice Development and Peace Commission, JDPC, is promoting an advocacy for disability inclusion in the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja.
Priests are particularly pleased with the bold step taken on inclusivity, with the presence of the committee of the persons with disability here with our needs. We are really pleased with this bold step. We want to encourage that, as you have seen, that we take this out to our various parishes, making that our brothers, our sisters, no matter their situation, no matter their part and parcel of the family, and should never be left out of the family.
The advocacy, which took place during the just concluded Abuja Archdiocesan General Assembly, provided an opportunity for the disability community of the Abuja Archdiocese to call on the Church to consider including them in the liturgy by employing the services of sign language experts.
Church to adopt policies and practices that will make premises and programs, including the Holy Mass, accessible to persons with disabilities. We are willing to support this cause, to provide guidance, to provide technical assistance, and to other things that are necessary to ensure that this is realized. I know that JDPC is working with CBN and will be working to make some places accessible to serve as practices, including the office of the Bishop of the Diocese.
So, number one, I pledge to accept, respect, support, and include persons with disabilities. 2, I will include people with disabilities in my office, place of worship, and in my community. 3, I pledge to build ramps, not barriers. 4, I will accept people of all abilities. 5, I will respect others and act with kindness and compassion. 6, I will support the rights of persons with disabilities anywhere, anytime. 7, inclusion begins with me.
The leadership of the Abuja Archdiocese and other stakeholders at the event pledged to support the disability inclusion in the church.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Grace. Thank you to the people of
Thank you immensely. Please.
Persons with disabilities are members of the society, and anything that could strengthen their participation in the church. For example, because there are different disability and different needs, there have to be different accommodations for the various groups. So for deaf parishioners, for example, they will need sign language interpretation to be able to participate, to understand the homily, and also communicate effectively in church. We will need the buildings to be accessible in terms of physical accessibility, so that those who are on wheelchair can access the church building and other facilities within the church, like convenience and other places, even offices and the rest of them. So we just need that a lot of things be put in place, and this can be done in consultation with persons with disabilities themselves to know the reasonable accommodation that are necessary. Most of these things will be easier done if planned from the beginning, and that's why we are calling on the church to imbibe or develop a policy that will ensure that when churches are built, a lot of these accessibility features are included from the beginning, so it doesn't become like an afterthought.
Commitment and solidarity by the Archbishop and some members of the General Assembly with regards inclusion. This is a very big step for JDPC because we're using this platform, this forum, to see that the persons with disabilities are being included in policies, daily livings and affairs of the societies. And we are using the church as a platform, as a very big target. And you could see through the commitment and solidarity that virtually all the priests present, and in fact everybody present or represented, any organization represented here yesterday, they're making a commitment that henceforth persons with disability will be included in the daily aspects of life. For instance, the sign language interpreters, which we are looking at, that it will be no longer a policy, but more like a law, or like a routine in the parishes, that persons with disabilities who have hearing impairment will be able to catch up with the mass and trends in the church and all that. This is just one aspect, but there are also various aspects that the JDPC is looking at, including persons with disability. And it's a very big aspect, and we're very glad that we're taking this step.
So there are a lot of societal barriers that have prevented persons with disabilities from living lives like every other person. There is discrimination in terms of access to facilities and services, like access to education and employment. There's a lot of stigma and stereotype and so many misconceptions about disability. And we need a lot of enlightenment, a lot of awareness, and a lot of deliberate steps to be taken so that persons with disabilities can live like every other member of the society. We have the law, the Disability Rights Act, which we are also pushing for its full implementation, which will hold both public and private individuals to account on how they promote the rights of persons with disabilities.
Okay, at the moment, JDPC, like I mentioned earlier, is partnering with the Christian Blind Mission, which is funding the basic project, that is bold actions to strengthen inclusive care in communities. JDPC had already had several activities with persons with disabilities, but with our partnership with the CBM, that's the Christian Blind Mission, we are beginning to map out stronger ways of inclusion in the communities, which is one aspect that you saw yesterday. And of course, presently JDPC is implementing the basic project in Gwagwalada Area Council, and it's not being heard of here because we are at the grassroots level. So we are implementing in 3 communities in Gwagwalada Area Council, which is of course a local government, Kutunku, Dagiri and Phase 3. And we're working with the JONAPID. JONAPID is the Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, and we're starting with them at the grassroots, at the foundation level, to see that they are being carried along with our partnership with the local government there, especially the health department and the social welfare department of the local government, that persons with disabilities are seen as equal and normal persons of the communities, and that the daily policies of the government or even the communities, they are being carried along and included and benefiting from as well.
In Abuja, Tony Abba, CTV News.